opposite.
Come on down to the Midland Hotel, Market Street in Normanton, Wakefield. It's worth checking out. There's a pool table, sports on the TV, friendly environment, great music, great atmosphere. And great prices. What more could you ask for? So come on down to the Midland Hotel in Normanton.
Hey, this is Joey from Revan and Joey, and you're listening to our single Feelin' 22 right here on Smile Radio. You can also find us on our Bandcamp website, revanandjoey.bandcamp.com, along with Apple, Spotify, iTunes, you name it. We're everywhere. So be sure to check us out, and thanks for listening.
If you like your chat hard and heavy, it's now time for the GameboyZ Get on Smile Radio. So sit back and join in the banter as the GameboyZ
Get Slashed. Yes, good evening. Welcome to the GameboyZ here at Smile Radio. It's the midweek mashup, so this week we're kind of getting slashed this week. And this week, joining me in the studio, not quite in the studio, but they're here in spirit. I've got the military Mark and Jonathan Edwards. How are we doing, fellas?
Slasher.
Yeah, slasher. We're talking slashers tonight. All right, so we'll start with you, Johnny. How are you this evening? You feeling all revved up and ready to rock and roll tonight?
Yeah, man, can't wait to boss it.
Yeah, and how about our man in the military Mark? How are you? Are you ready to try and survive another GameboyZ this week?
Try and be in the keyword here, please.
I mean, you did all right last week. I mean, you did sort of hold your own for a little while until you got Black Plague and then became some sort of mutant evil creature. But they brought you back. They did bring you back, and there is a version of you that still lives that is kind of still like you. Not quite the same as you, but we've got alternative Mark. He's a bit more friendlier, I guess. So yeah, tonight we're talking slashers because we're missing Jam. He has been slashed off the roster this evening because he's been put on the roster over at work, which kind of sucks. But hey, someone's got to do it right.
Life's life.
Yeah, life is like a box of chocolates. So yeah. We'll start off this evening, lads. What's your favourite horror film? Well, if we could say a slasher that you'd want to get chased by, not that you'd want to ever get chased by a slasher, because goddamn, that'd be horrible. But in movie terms, the slasher that you'd most likely to want to get chased by, Johnny, who's your favourite slasher film?
Ooh, I'd probably have to go Friday
the 13th. That's a good call, man. Like myself, when I was thinking about this earlier, when I was sat on the sofa thinking, what are we going to do tonight? And Slasher popped into my head. It was Friday the 13th that kind of popped in my head. Now, quite recently, I actually had the joy of playing the Friday the 13th game on the Xbox One. So here we can tie in a little bit of our Game Boy side into the gaming show. Friday the 13th was a short-lived little game. It had a lot of promise. It was crowdfunded from the start. They actually raised their funds within days of putting the project up on Kickstarter, and then from there it went to Xbox and PlayStation and PC. But yeah, because of legal issues at the moment with the studio and I believe it's the producers and the writer of Friday the 13th, they've kind of had to put the project on freeze, and unfortunately, as a result, it's basically meant that, there's no DLC or anything else coming out for it. And they had a load of stuff planned like Jason X and that, but no, you can only get these sort of default characters. So, I picked it up for a $5 and I played it. And it is pretty tense, when it comes to slasher games, honestly, guys. It's one of those games, it actually put the heebie-jeebies in me, and I'm not one of these people that sort of scares easy, but, at any minute this dude could come through a window, you could smash through your, wardrobe that you're hiding in. It's a really great game to actually play, and I'm really gutted that they didn't actually take it any sort of further than that, So, yeah, Johnny.
It's one of those I regret not playing, to be fair.
You know what, man? At some point, I'll let you play on my copy. I'll sort you out a way to play with my copy, and I'll let you have a go because it is worth it. I think it's something like a $5 now in the game store. It's a very rare chance you get to be Jason. That one time you do get to be Jason, it is pretty awesome though because you get his range of powers. But you have to level up and get more stuff as you go. You see, it's like one of those that you start off with the base Jason powers, and then it sort of gets better as it goes. All right, Mark, over to you, bud. What's your slasher? Then? Who would you want to get chased by?
Definitely Johnny. Friday the 13th style.
All right. Do you want to get chased by? I think you're missing the point there, bud. I'm saying if you had like a Hollywood slasher, who would you want to get? Which one would it be? Which would you got a choice here. You could have like Chucky, you could have Freddy, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. That's just to name a few, and then there's
definitely has to be Freddy.
There's Norman Bates. So
I don't know many.
You're the guy with the. Is that because you're not allowed to watch horror movies still? Like in your 20s, you still can't get into that. You got to be all tucked up.
No, it's because I'm still at the bed.
Yeah, I know, man. It's stuff that be shamed. It's like I say to
It's
Jake,
alright, man.
It's
We don't
okay.
judge.
Yeah, I don't judge. It's like I say to Jake, it's okay. We'll put some newspaper down, and then we'll rub your nose in it, and then you won't do it again, will you? I don't really do that to him.
What,
just
is he a
to be
dog?
clear. Well, you got to treat him mean and keep him keen, is what I heard somewhere around the ways and that, But yeah. Anyway, what
I think
was
that's
saying.
for something else, Richie.
See, this is it. This is why I'm glad you're here to put me in perspective, Johnny, because we're all unscripted here at Smart Radio, so we just sort of slip off the tangent from time to time. So yeah, we're going to be talking slashers this evening. Freddy, there's never actually been a Nightmare on Elm Street game, is there? If you think about it, there was a short-lived TV series in the 80s in which Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger did appear at the beginning, and they made him sort of like the Crypt Keeper. I don't know if you guys remember Tales from the Crypt Keeper. And he just sort of sits there at the beginning and...
Not really.
Nah, like he sits there at the beginning and he makes like a really cheesy sort of couple of Freddy puns like, sweet dreams, knuckleheads, but in some sort of Freddy joke. And then it cuts off to some sort of story that isn't even related to A Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like, this is the worst television show ever. Who thought that making,
Mark.
this, like what's it called series doesn't work?
Yeah.
Right. We're going to go over to some music right now here on the Game Boys, and we're going to talk to the guys again very, very shortly after some more music. Kicking off the list tonight, we've got the Everyday Dogs, and this is All These People. You're rocking out now. This is the Game Boys this Wednesday night here on Smart Radio.
it got on the hands? So where was I when I met you? All these people that fall in love, they don't know what they've got on their hands. So where was I when I met you? It'll grab you by the collar, baby, like it or not, you're going in over here. So where was I when I met you? Where was I when I met you? Where was I when I met you?
So first off, I hate you. The words cut through her lips like a Japanese knife. She didn't expect to be hearing this tonight. Meanwhile, I hear it all happening through the door, on the phone, in the next room. Yeah, I'm listening to you. She said, I can't wait till there's no soreness in my arms. And I can't wait till there's no scar across my heart. I'm sick of being your chest back, baby. Wanna see you fall down. I can't wait until you're not around. My heart breaks, it shatters. I spend all of June trying to pick up the shards. Oh yeah? Oh no, I should've known better, but I'm not bitter. My hand hurts, it's blistered, so don't grab it, 'cause she'll fucking stab it. It's true. When will you stop playing with fire? Well, I don't know. She said, I can't wait till there's no soreness in my arms. And I can't wait till there's no scar across my heart. I'm sick of being your trash bag, baby. Wanna see you fall down. I can't wait until you're not around. I can't wait for you. 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 I'm sick of being your trash bag, baby. Trash bag, I can't wait. Sick of being your trash bag. She said, I can't wait till there's no soreness in my arms. And I can't wait till there's no scab across my heart. I'm sick of being your trash bag, baby. Wanna see you fall down. I can't wait until you're not around.
That one there, Trash Bag Baby by Swimmers, and before that was Everyday Dogs and All These People. Welcome back, it is the midweek mashup with the Game Boys here at Smile Radio. Yeah, you have to bear with me, I'm a little bit bugged up still this evening. Still full of flu. How are we doing, Johnny? I don't think we've got him back at the moment.
He's just being a P-word.
Shush you, man. We've still got no Mark at the moment, have we? He just sort of vanished for a second, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's back. Oh, there he is. He's back. Like, yeah.
He's returned from the ether.
He is really like our Morty. He proper is. Like, to every like Game Boys
Just
there
in
must
and
be a
out when you
Mark.
don't want him.
Yeah, he's our Morty Mark. There we go. So yeah, we're talking about slashers this evening, like the hypothetical. But before that, what we're going to do is we're going to actually explain a bit about what's been going on here at the Game Boys. Now, last few weeks we've been playing these little scenario situations on the show, and basically it's leading towards a comic book story. That's right. We're actually in the process of drawing out a comic book, 3 pages in so far, which doesn't sound like a lot, I know, but trust me, there's a lot got into it so far. There's been about 4 or 5 different style design changes and everything like that. But you know, I think we're happy. We're going with
We're all picky.
It's not even that really. It's just finding the right sort of look for it. You know, we've finally sort of decided today a majority vote because you know we're fair and even, and it was a massive majority vote. It's going to be a black and white book. You know, we might even release a colour edition at some point. You know, well, you should check the votes, Mark. Shouldn't you? You see, there was one man that voted.
I did check the votes.
Yeah, and it was yeah. You know, you lost yet
We're all
again.
just, like,
You didn't even survive the
sucking
vote.
each other's lollipops.
You know, oh, why you gotta be like that, bud? Innit? You know, just because you like to see colours, we're going nostalgic. You know, Walking
Just
Dead.
accept the loss.
I like the multicolours.
Walking Dead does okay, man, and that's a black and white comic. And you know, yeah, the Game Boys, we're bringing out our own like comic based upon some of the scenarios that we've actually been talking about here on the show. So you may think
You'll
we're a bit
probably
surreal.
recognise a few of them.
Yeah, so you may find it a little bit surreal, but if you actually end up, say, hang on, you know, let's mess things up a little bit because you know it's a mashup. So hey, to you future listeners out there, if you've picked up the comic book and you've gone back to listen to the podcast, hello there. I'm Richie J, writer, comic book artist extraordinaire, and these are the other 2 monkeys with the typewriter that kind of hang around sometimes and pop ideas in it from occasionally.
I just stand there and spam keys.
He does, and
Pretty
pulls
much how I get him as well.
his moody looks. That's what he does. That's his key.
I just do it myself.
So yeah,
I'm
this
the
is
eye candy, guys.
this is kind of where. See, there you go. Now we're gonna come back to this in about 15 years when you're balding and fat, and you're like, yeah, I'm still the eye candy man. Don't you worry about that.
I'm technically bald.
I'm still
so
the
I won't
icon.
take offence to that.
Yeah, but you're technically bald because you know that's how your job requires you to be. You know, you've got to be like skin-headed, haven't you? You know, isn't it? You've got no choice in that. You don't
Yeah, but
own.
not bald.
You don't own your haircut, do you? They own your haircut, so you know. Keep
I
out
know I
of
do, I
conversation
can
for
have a
now.
skin
They
Yeah,
tone.
own everything.
yeah, even your soul.
Even my pubes.
Oh, there we go. He's dropping the tone.
Oh,
We're already
wow.
at 9:15, and he's already lowered the tone in that. You know, it's usually Johnny. So Johnny, somebody's like easing into your job this week. You know, so you've got to be the respectable and
Yeah, but
non-sweary
he took
one.
jams, the game chat, you know.
Well, he's not kind of though. He's just Johnny. Johnny's had his own role in this, hasn't you, bud? Yeah.
All I said was Mark.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, so tonight we're talking slashers and stuff. We've got some great like little bits of dialogue lined up for that, as well as talking about the comic book. Comic book where we're actually going to be totally meta and actually is probably going to feature ourselves. I don't know if we've actually discussed that yet. Are you happy with it being yourselves? I don't know. Are you happy to be in a comic book?
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Put me into all the situations.
Yeah, there we go. Johnny's like, just throw me in the deep end, man. I'll go for it. Yeah. So yeah, the Game Boys
I would
comic.
just like to say, what does it say on my coffin?
There's no coffins. I haven't
On my
done.
headstone?
It's just gonna say here live.
Yeah, but I die, remember?
Mark, why are you spoiling it? God, spoiler alert!
Stop
Innit? You know,
spoils.
yeah, there we go. You know, stop listening right now. You know, obviously come back to this after the books come out in 2020 because it's gonna take that long to do. But yeah, thanks, spoiler alert. But yeah,
Richie's bad at his job.
hey, I'm not bad at my job. I just have to multitask. That's all. But yeah, so yeah, slashers
My bad.
tonight. We've all gone through it. Have you seen? You guys actually seen the trailer for the new Child's Play movie that's coming out this year?
It looks dodgy.
No, I'm not a big horror genre.
Are you seriously not a big horror genre man? Come on, Johnny, what's wrong with you? I thought you was a real man.
It just
you know.
doesn't interest me, to be perfectly honest.
See, this is because you.
I
Was,
think he's scared.
it's not that. I understand where he's coming from. It's you guys' generation. You see, you're a different generation to my generation. I grew up in the generation of practical effects and B-movie horrors, where B-movies were actually great because they were so cheap that
B
it
movie's
was,
a sick film.
you know, not like the movie B-movie. I'm on about the genre B-movies. You know, I'm not talking about a film about animated talking bees, Mark. Jesus Christ. Give me strength this evening.
It's less scarier.
But yeah, as if I'd be talking about B-movie, the one with the
B-movie.
animated fit bees and that. Yeah, you know. Yeah, let's talk slashers
Have you
tonight.
ever seen the video where every time it says B, it speeds up?
No, I haven't. What is this? Like in the genre B-movie or like the B-movie? I'm
No,
confused
new
now.
B movie.
We've completely diverged off track here, you know. We're talking about slashers and you're talking about the pollen count right now.
Well,
This
it is Game Boys. It
I
tends to
know.
happen.
Oh my days. But yeah,
You're welcome.
I grew up in a time when the genre of B movie was like, you know, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, all of them great ones were things. I grew up in a time where Halloween was still fresh content. We didn't. It wasn't oversaturated. You guys come into the generation where the market absolutely got flooded. It was the back end of the 90s, and it seemed like every other month there's a cheap horror movie being churned out by one of the big studios, and it became a thing. And it's the other reason why I kind of thought today about talking about slashers, which we will get to in the show, because I know we've only got an hour and a half this evening. We're already 20 minutes in. But yeah, this was it. I got thinking this was like, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'll level out with you now, this was a crapper thought, and it was about the slasher genre as a whole. And you notice now that Halloween's come back, Child's Play's come back this year, Friday the 13th I also believe is in the process of coming back. They're going to be doing another Friday the 13th.
They're just all the same though.
But it seems to me,
once you've seen one, you've seen them all.
I know, yes, once you've seen one, you've seen them all. But that was the novelty of it, because you had a different monster with every one when they were fresh and original. But again, it's because they've been rechurned out at 1,000,000,000 rates. It's kind of, I mean, if you was there for the originals, I mean, Friday the 13th, I think there's like 8 movies in the whole. No, there's like 10 movies, because Jason X, there's 10 movies in the series, like Nightmare on Elm Street, 8 films to that original series, plus one more film after that, which was the reboot. All of the classics had a long running series, and they were kind of like the equivalent of, like when you watch stuff like Supernatural today, and it's like cheap TV comedy, but it's easy watching stuff. Well, that's what Friday the 13th was in the 80s. That's where it all sort of spans from, is stuff like that. Where you got the slasher and he's chasing you around, and that's what gives it a nostalgic effect. And yeah, so all you guys out there that are listening to this, like, I don't really dig the horror. It's like, it's because you're the wrong generation, I'm afraid. It's a generational thing, trust me. Like, people in my sort of age group that love the B movies and the horror films and that, they will tell you about the classics. Like my mate who I did the film with, he absolutely loves Return of the Living Dead. That is his go-to film. He'll tell me about it so many times and that. And I've seen the film. I've actually seen the film. I have seen the film a few times, but he can recite it word for word pretty much, and he absolutely loves that film. For me, it was the Tromaville movies. I used to watch all of the Tromaville ones. Oh, my studio's falling to bits. But yeah, I used to grow up with Tromaville. You guys probably won't again know what Tromaville is. However, you'll have heard of one of the directors that's actually started out with Tromaville, Guardians of the Galaxy director and Suicide 2 scribe, apparently, James Gunn. He started out with Tromaville, and they're really cheap horror films, but they were set in the high school genre of the 80s, and they were like pretty much risque, not quite porn, but they were on the way to sort of trying to be a sort of like porn without actually revealing any nudity or stuff, and it was a bit weird. But they're classic movies, like, you got from that they spun out like kids TV series like the Toxic Crusaders and stuff, and that come from this B movie sort of like porno platform. There you go. So you can see it's had a knock-on effect throughout, like, a whole generation there, and that's stuff that you guys don't actually know about.
Now you've got terrible rom-coms.
I know, that's the other thing that sort of gets to me. So if you had a choice of living in a world where it was a rom-com going on around you 24/7, or a world where somebody was getting slashed up every other 52 weeks, like every 52nd week of the year, somebody got slashed by like a hideous murderer, what would you choose?
Slash it.
Straight up, no thoughts there. Yeah, it's worth it. Once a year, somebody's got to go. That's cool. I can live with that. What about you, Mark? What would be your choice?
I can't deal with all the cliches.
He's gonna go.
Mark's just like rom-com.
He's gonna go straight up rom-com, innit? He's like the kittens and the slippers kind of guy, curled up in front of the fire with them warm twigs and that custard cream soggy biscuit dipped in tea.
I'll sit in the freezer.
His ideal girl next door.
Or watch a horror film. I'd have that all the lights on and.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk. We'll go back to the slasher genre in a minute. This is quite an interesting chat so far, because we sort of spun it out of nothing, because we weren't actually prepped for tonight, because we come in all unscripted and that, because we're missing Jam. We didn't actually know what we was going to do. We was going to talk games, and yeah, I've had this thought, and it's actually turning into quite a thought-provoking discussion. So we're going to have a little bit more music now on the GameboyZ Get, slashed. not in the terminology as we're getting drunk. I mean, I don't know, Johnny, are you getting drunk right now?
I wish.
You're the resident drinker of the house, aren't you? And then there's Mark, he's got to stand to attention all the time, and not like he's taking Viagra or nothing. It'd be pretty funny if
I
someone,
get paid tomorrow, so it'll be sometime this
Oh no,
weekend
that would be
I get slashed.
hilarious.
You know what, Mark? We're gonna purposely. I'm gonna tell you now, because then it's not illegal if I'm telling you what I'm gonna do to you. So while we do the GameboyZ road trip, I'm gonna get Viagra, dust it up into your food, and then make you eat it. And I'm not gonna tell you when I'm gonna do it. And then you're gonna stand to attention basically for that whole segment of the GameboyZ that we're gonna film and everything, and you'll know what happened.
It's fine, you won't say out probably.
I'm just thinking about CDTs, you know.
What's CDTs? Refresh my memory on this.
Compulsory drug test.
Oh, yeah, but Viagra doesn't show up on that, does it?
It does.
Really?
Yeah,
So?
they search for everything.
I can't imagine them being too bothered about it.
Tonight has really been a revealer. I mean, that's kind of a big one, isn't it? Just imagine you go for your medical and they find Viagra in your system. Gee, buddy, wow, is it really that bad?
Danny should be careful then.
Hey, I don't have Viagra in my system, man. I'm not a Viagra. I'm in my prime. You know, this is late night radio. I'm the beast of the East.
Your prime was stopped when you had your son, and he keeps budging him.
Nah, man, it's you know, I'm like a lion. You know, I have dormant periods. I just had a dormant period, and you know, I'm roaring right now. You know, I'm like Katy Perry's music video Roar. Like I'm something to do in that jungle. I don't know. I'm probably Katy Perry's skirt. Who knows? Anyway, let's have some more music. This is Back with the People by Ulysses Wells.
Stray cat.
Yeah, I'm that stray cat. Yeah, that's me, Katy Perry.
You're
Anyway,
straight out of Compton.
why you got to do that, Mark? Why you got to do this to me? Anyway, we got some more music. We'll be back very soon. This is the GameboyZ.
I'm gonna break out of here. Got to shake off the fear. Gonna tear down the walls I built, watch them fall, light a match and then disappear. You dragged me through dirt, cause my pain, cause my hurt. But I'm rising up through the dust to the top. Oh, I've just got to get out and run. Oh, I can see the light and I can taste the rain. So get out and run. Get out and run. 'Cause I've gone too long. Oh, so get me back with the people.
Yes, a bit of the Mysterines there, and that was Bet Your Pretty Face. I absolutely love that track. That's a great one, that, you know. I'm going to bring the GameboyZ back in now. They're just, you know, hanging 5 in the background. I give them the 5-second warning so they know to watch the language. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, getting back onto the subject at hand tonight, we're talking about getting slashed, you know. So, you know, you said it yourself while we was in the ad break there, sort of, well, in the music break there, I call it an ad break, but it's the music break, because we're playing independent artists here on Smile Radio and that, and there's some absolutely great ones, and I always sort of try and pick the soundtracks to suit what we're sort of talking about, and I always sort of do them, you know. We've had these ones tonight, like Trash Bag Baby, you know, that's probably pretty relevant to a slasher flick, isn't it, you know. Bet Your Pretty Face. We've got one in the list called Let the Devil In. You know, we've got some absolutely fantastic songs in the mix this evening, and you know, you can check out the playlist after the show. You can also catch us on Podbean. We're on there. You can catch us on Spotify. www.smileradio.co/on-demand. Yes, right, we've got our own on-demand page now. Absolutely fantastic. Check it out, and you can catch up on all of the last 10 shows via that page. But if you want to catch up on more, hit us up on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. Show some support, share us out, share the love, let people know that Smile's here, obviously designed for the independent artists and the independent creatives in the world, you know. So yeah, slasher flicks this evening. You guys said that, you know, there's no originality anymore. Everything is pretty much predictable. It's all designed on jump scares. Like Johnny, your last viewing was Saw. Yeah, I kind of stopped watching those films, to be honest, because I'm not really into gore horror. Gore horror is not my bag, baby. I like that sort of psychological intensity with a good horror. You know, I could deal with the haunting horrors, you know, like the ones with the Amityville horror where they're getting jazzy jeffed around the house, left, right, and centre and stuff, and lights flickering on and off. Paranormal Activity, that really just got out of pure control. I think that was another one that was a bit of a whacked out sort of genre. But yeah, Saw. I wouldn't define Saw as your typical slasher movie because it's kind of just an atypical. It is a jump scare gore movie. It's not a slasher flick. There's no actual intended chase, you know. Whereas like the slashers that I'd refer to more here tonight would be like your Michael Myers and your Jason Voorhees, your well thought out killers. You know, I mean the most terrifying thing about Michael Myers. I mean the most recently released Halloween. You probably haven't checked that one out, but I would highly recommend it, dude. It's actually it's a great film. It's not like it's got its typical moments in there, but it's actually a pretty good flick because the most horrifying fact is that Michael Myers is a real physical person. He's not a monster. He's not like a super powered entity. He is the real deal. He's just a man killer. That's just killed his sister as a child. He's a beast. Yeah, and he is a beast. And like in the newest one, he's like 60 years old, and he comes after Laurie Strode, and they sort of retcon a load of the old Halloween history with it, but in a good way. In that, you know, they sort of like make it a true sequel to 1 and 2. No, in fact, I think it's just a true sequel to 1. And he's been in the asylum all this time, and there's a pretty mangled up bit where he goes into this bathroom and this bird's in there, and she's like panicking. Because he's like banging on the door, and then he just leans his hand over, and he just drops all these like teeth from a partner that he's ripped out onto the floor in front of her, and they just bust the door in, and then like he just basically busts her up on that because they go in, and he's been catatonic for something like 40 years, and they show him the mask, and it's the mask that sort of sets him off again. But you know, it's kind of that. It's just like he has that one moment he snaps, and that happens more often than not now. In real life society, that's where the line has sort of become. it is, we have these moments where we live in these slasher films, sort of like, you know, life imitates art and art imitates life now. You know, it's become quite a case that we've got these slashers out there. Whereas, you know, you got your true fictional ones like Freddy, you got Jason. They've all come from a supernatural element. Chucky. I mean, you know, if I was going to be chased by any slasher, it'd be the Chucky doll, because straight away it's a doll, man. I'm gonna just like smash it to bits. You know, I've got a 3-year-old that knows how to smash stuff to bits. He's shown me how to do it, and I know how to do it with great expertise now. So, yeah, you know, if I'm gonna be chased by anything, I'm gonna be chased by the doll, because at least I can take the doll out. I mean, Jason Voorhees, he is one big dude, and he just keeps getting up and up and up, and like, there's no putting that guy down. So yeah, I never want to get chased by that one. Freddy Krueger, Mark went with that one. So, you know, the guy that would actually torture you and murder you in your sleep, where you can't actually escape.
Yeah.
That's the most messed up situation of
Actually,
all.
he puts his fist through mirrors. You look into a mirror, and the next thing you know, you're dead.
Well, he doesn't. No, that's not how Freddy Krueger works. Freddy Krueger works on the dream level. He's the Sandman. He's the horror version of the Sandman. He comes to you in your dreams. So when you see it and he's reaching out for you in the mirror, that's your subconscious, that's your dreaming mind. Like in the first one, they sort of explain it out throughout the series. It's like kind of interwoven, but they just go on these benders of straight caffeine. But obviously, the human body's not designed to not sleep. Sleep is part of the regenerative process of the human body. So after a while, if you go without sleep, you will actually hallucinate. And Wes Craven did his research on this before he made the film and stuff. And yeah, a big part of it is the hallucinations, and that again is your brain dreaming. So that's how he can reach out through these windows at you. But the thing is with it, you can't do nothing about it, Mark. You've picked the one killer that there's nothing you can do about. With Jason Voorhees, if you got enough people in a bulldozer, you could knock him down, chop him up, and throw him back in the river in little bits and that. Yeah, it's going to take him a while to get back together, but in that time, you're safely out of the country. But you've picked the one guy that can pick on you anywhere in the world. Instantly, Mark has already received the Game Boy death of the evening. You know, he's picked the slasher that's just gonna, you know,
Shocking.
You know, I mean, he didn't even last the first 10 minutes of the show,
surprised.
so he chose, Fred. I mean, Freddy Krueger is a great horror character. You know, in the first film is proper terrifying and that, and as the series goes on, he becomes more of a caricature of that first character, and it's all about the comedy. And it becomes more of a comedy horror by the end of the 80s, and then I don't know. You can. It's really funny if you look at how horror movies go from the 70s. They're dead serious. Then cocaine hit the scene, and they just all go out on these crazy mind-bending experiences for a little while with some really crazy subplots just thrown in out the works. And that's pretty much up until about the early 90s, when horror just started repeating what happened in the 70s. So, you know, we're pretty much, if we're repeating the cycle, we're in that coke-fueled haze of, like, crazy horror films now. So in about 10 years, we might actually start getting some more, you know, redefined original material coming out, you know. So yeah, slasher flicks. You guys not big slasher fans. This has obviously made tonight's conversation very, very difficult, but we can talk video games in the next segment, you know, because yeah, that's your guys' speciality. You know, slasher games. I've already talked about Friday the 13th. You said there was Dead by Daylight, isn't there? Is that the other one? That's the one that is kind of like the Friday the 13th type game, same scenario, and you actually get to play as Michael Myers in that as a bonus DLC. They've got a load of horror characters. I think Freddy was one of them as well that you could get in this DLC. So I might actually get Dead by Daylight, because that seems like a great game. And I say to you earlier, we want to get into this like phase where we're actually gaming again. Well, we're not on air, and we're actually streaming it, so, you know, people that do listen can get involved with us again, because, you know, we're all about the audience interaction, and if you do want to get involved with us, there's a few ways you can hit us up. On Facebook, Smile Radio is at Smile Radio Yorkshire. The Game Boys, if you want to hit them up, is at the Game Boys of Smile. Twitter, well, Game Boys are not quite set up on there, but you can catch us at Smile Radio 3. It is me that generally picks up the messages and stuff. And yeah, on Instagram, it's at Smile Radio 3 also. I believe there's an at Game Boys of Smile Radio as well that Jam set up. So yeah,
Apparently.
yeah, there's a page. There is a page. I just don't think I've seen any posts on there just yet. You know, it's one of those. Anyway, how you doing, Jam? If you're listening this evening, drop us a message. Let us know how you get on. Flip. Yeah. We'll have some more.
You're still alive.
Yeah, we'll have some more music, and then we'll come back to some more chat. This is the Game Boys with a midweek mashup. Mashup. I can't. It's because my sinuses are blocked, man. I sound, you know, I've got these sexy dulcet tones, but I can't pronounce words with it. You know, this is Rival Sons and Sugar on the Bone. Wasted Soul there by Petyr, and that's from the Emerald Eyes stroke Wasted Soul EP. Welcome back, it's the GameboyZ here on Wednesday night on Small Radio with me, Richie J, Jonathan Edwards and Military Mark. I'm going to bring the guys back very, very shortly, but it's come to that time of the show where, you know, we've got to have a word from some of our ad sponsors. So yeah, we're going to have a word from some of our sponsors, and then we're going to get back to some more of the GameboyZ here on Small Radio.
College Grove Nursery in Wakefield has been providing the highest standard of childcare for over 22 years. Situated on Eastmoor Road, we are close to the M1 and M62 motorway network and also convenient for Wakefield city centre, schools and major places of employment. For more details, check out our website at www.collegegrovenursery.co.uk or give us a call on 01924 200 120 to arrange a visit. College Grove, a special nursery which takes a hand, opens a mind and touches a heart.
The Curtain Shop Ossett. For all your curtains, blinds and upholstery needs, visit our showroom at 9 Kingsway Ossett, WF5 8DA, or give us a call on 01924 283 284. Visit our website www.yorkshirecurtainshop.co.uk or look for The Curtain Shop on Facebook. The Curtain Shop Ossett.
Yes, that's right. You could, check out the Curtain Shop. We've got a fancy new advert coming in for them very, very soon, so stay tuned and keep an ear out for those. Now, on that note, you know, here at Small Radio, it's not just me doing all of the shows here. We do have some great, fantastic shows here in the mix on Small Radio. So I'm just going to take a moment to throw a shout out to a couple of those shows.
Hello and welcome to Smile Radio, the beacon for all your unsigned indie, rock, alternative, and on occasion the Rich Harrison Drive Time Show, where you can catch me, Rich Harrison, on a Monday to Thursday, 4 till 6, and on a Friday with my sidekick, Chris, with the Rich and Little Bit of Chris Show. You can listen to Smile Radio online at www.smileradio.co, or you can download our app for Apple and Android devices. Get in touch via Facebook at Smile Radio Yorkshire, or on Twitter and Instagram at Smile Radio 3, or email me at richard@smileradio.com. So sit back, relax, enjoy the music, and most importantly, smile!
Yes, there is Smile Radio's owner there, Richard Harrison. Catch him on a drive time 4 till 6. And then on a Friday with Chris, but this week he's got me, so it's Rich and a little bit more Rich, I guess, this week. You know, twice the rich. It's none the better, I guess, is the term that goes with that. Welcome back, GameboyZ. How are you doing this evening? Are you alright there?
I'm good.
Yeah, we're good, man.
So, you know, we've been going on for a little while now, and we're getting to 10 to 10, man, so we've got about 40 minutes of the show left. So, you know, I'm going to ask a few questions now, like, you know, the old typical fashioned, like, GameboyZ style. So, you know, here's a few scenario-based questions on scenarios and that. So, you know, if you was to get a letter from a relative that you didn't know, like, well, it wasn't even from a relative, it was from a solicitor. So you got this great aunt, and she wants you all to go to this mansion, and you got to spend the night for $1 million. At the end of it, is it something you do?
Yeah, man.
Even though you've never heard of this relative?
Sure. Why not? It's a mansion, right?
Oh, Johnny. Oh.
How often am I going to get invited to a
Okay,
mansion?
you can tell that you're quite naive when it comes to horror films straight up there when you answer that question with, yeah. Screw it, I'll do it.
We need to make a show of this, okay, man?
I know, but still bad, you know. I thought Mark would be the one that jumped straight in there first with like, yeah, I'll do that, yeah, that's cool. Because, as you know, usually in the typical scenario, you'll turn up to the mansion, there's a group of people there. We'll say that Mark and, obviously Jam's there. You know, so you've all turned up and you've all got the same auntie that's just left you like $1 million if you stay in a hotel for the night. You know, got to make something weird of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just said something to do with Jam.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. God damn it, I knew I had a relative down in Norfolk somewhere, you know. So, it's one of those, like, so generally the cases that happens, it's generally like a begrudged person. So, there's only one person that would really sort of fit the profile on that. We know, would want to kill you all at some point. So, yeah, you got a nemesis there. Speaking of nemesis next week, with Jam being back, fingers crossed, we'll be talking about the multiverse, carrying on where we left off with the time travel. It's all related to the comic book, so, there's Easter eggs along the way here, I assure you. So, yeah, you got to imagine, this is the Game Boys podcast / radio show where we're planning it, and when you read the book at the end and you're like, oh my god, that was the episode that they talked about that, and then we'll be like, we did? Because, I don't actually remember what we talked about the morning after, so one of the days I have a bit of a blank.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm having to record them. I'm having to go back and listen to the show and draw it back out based off of what you're telling me, and some of the answers I'm shocked at, Johnny, I've got to say. I am frankly disgusted. But yeah, no, yeah, no, I'm excited about this whole. It's a new sort of style of project that we want to try here, and I think it's going to be fun. I think it will be fun for all of us. We're all like going to make an adventure that you, the listener, can hopefully enjoy down the line. We're getting there with it. Only another 1,000,001 pages to go.
Love it.
But yeah, it's all part of the expanded Smile Radio experience, and one day when we've got our own Marvel Cinematic Universe of our own, with the Game Boys in different films, and they all come together for that one big film, just remember, it all started with this radio show. How crazy is that, but yeah, so it's like going back to slashers this evening. You would go to the mansion and stuff. Mark, would you go to a mansion? Is that your kind of thing? If you got an invite from a relative that you'd never even heard of, and they said that they'd died, and in this world they've left you $1 million, but the only thing is you've got to spend the night in the mansion, and there's no other details about it. Is it something you go with? Would you go with it, or would you not?
No.
You wouldn't. See, he's taking the smart approach this evening. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I've learned my lesson enough. So
Because he doesn't want to die first for once.
it turned out that Mark's auntie was real, and she actually, she was his great aunt from Australia, twice removed, and yeah, she left him £1 million mansion that's just now laying dormant out there in the woods. Meanwhile, Johnny's gone to this one, and then there's you and Jam that's just turned up at this mansion, and you've all got the same auntie, and he's just saying, oh, it's something to do with Jam, this, So yeah, right, okay, so in a slasher type scenario, like I said, the true slasher is defined by the psychological aspect of how it sort of turns out. So, I'm going to throw a few more people into the mix here. So there's about 5 of you. There's you, Jam. I'll answer for Jam tonight, I guess, and Mark. And
as long as there's no X's there, problem solved.
Well, generally in these horror movie scenarios where there's a slasher and it's a mansion, it does either turn out to be an X or somebody that you wronged in a life experience. So yeah, pick one, lads. Yeah. I'm saying we can mix it up a little bit,
That list.
Yeah, we ain't got time to read off that list this evening, but that's another show. That's for another show. But yeah, you get to the first. It's like a case like Clue. You're all there at dinner, and the lights go out, and then the lights go back on, and somebody's dead with their face down in the soup. You're all sat at the table, you're all there, you're all laughing and joking, and somebody's just blam dead on the soup. I'll go with Johnny, because he seems like the guy that's like straight up, and it's like, what would be your first response in this sort of situation where you
it's
sort of
poison.
Even though there's a knife sticking out the back of this guy's head, yeah, I forgot.
Oh, you never said that.
Well, you didn't ask, did you?
Did you?
How did he die? No, I didn't actually mention it, but your first response was poison. So but yeah, there was a knife in the back of his head actually. So yeah, straight up dead with his face in his soup. He didn't even have a chance to drown because he was already gone. But yeah, so yeah, first response, would you want to try and stick around for the rest of the night because you're itching for that $1 million, or are you heading for the hills? What would you do, bud? Try and call the cops or what?
I'm sticking around. I'm a big guy.
You're a big guy, so the group's all about being the big guy here tonight. Apparently, Mark, what would you do in that situation? Are you gonna be the guy that's like, let's get out of here? This isn't worth it. If somebody's dead now, somebody else is gonna die in about 20 minutes. I'm out of here.
See, a stick around.
You'd be a stick-arounder, okay, but at least one of you would have the common sense to call the cops first, right? You want to try and call the police.
No, because
we're in the middle of nowhere, aren't we?
Yeah, and someone's gonna have cut the power, so you can't.
Well, what is it with him and the spoiler alerts? Like, I was getting to that point later on, but yeah,
Oh, I didn't realise that.
To
gradually.
be fair, we could all see that one coming.
Well, that's how it generally goes with these horror films. But yeah, the power's kind of gone out. You've got lights, emergency generator's gone up. But yeah, you found that the phone lines are cut and stuff. And that's the typical trope so far. And at this point, this is where it gets boring for me in a film, because nobody's like, actually, you know what? Let's just chip. They're all like, let's go see if there's more survivors and that. And honestly, if this was me in this situation at this point, I am very much to the, you know what, guys, this ain't worth it. Let's just come back in the morning and say that we stayed the night and go get a hotel. Yeah, let these other people kill themselves off. Obviously, we can split what we can win. I'm taking the smart approach on this one. Either of you gonna listen to me on this?
Nah, because you haven't disclosed where we are, so it's how we're gonna get out.
Okay, well, it's not that.
You know the doors are gonna be locked.
Well, no, the doors aren't locked. I've just happily walked out the door and just out down the street, a couple of miles away from a motel. So I'm going to go back to that motel. That's where I'm off to. I'll see you boys there. I'll see you boys back at the front entrance in the morning if you make it. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's my honest choice in this. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get out of there. So yeah, you guys are sticking around. That's cool. I'll ring for the cops while I'm on my way if I find a phone and that. Yeah, because I've got my mobile with me. We've got mobile signal and that. No one at that point's checked either. That we live in a modern age with mobile phones, for crying out loud. So you actually already have fallen into the horror movie trope, because you're like, we're in a house, we don't know where we are, the phone lines have been cut, the power's obviously been cut. But you haven't thought, hang on, I've got a mobile phone.
Yeah, true.
See, there's the stunned silence, isn't it? So, are you actually going to call the cops now you know you got your mobile phone on you?
No.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna kill the guy myself, because I'm a revenge killer. I'm a psycho.
Oh god, I'm starting to think that Johnny might be the one that killed the guy with the knife in the soup. I'm glad I'm out of this situation right now.
No.
Mark, I've not got a lot of hope for you so far, buddy. If Johnny is the killer, because he's been saying some things the last few weeks that have been making me a little bit uncomfortable. I didn't want to say it on the show and that, but there's that. But yeah, what would you do, Mark? Are you going to be the guy that calls the cops in this? Because honestly, it's a murder.
No.
There's got to be some sort of like order here, right? So none of you are going to call the police. So far, in my book, you're both possibly as guilty as hell here. I'm definitely not going to a mansion with you guys at any point. You've just sort of proved that point that.
You'd have only said the cell tower's down anyway.
Actually, I wouldn't. I'm trying to break the trope a little bit. This is, there you go. The trope would be that the cell phone tower's down, but it doesn't have to be. In real life, the cell phone tower's actually, to be fair, I say this, but yesterday in my area, the cell phone tower was actually down. I couldn't actually make a phone call all day. You believe that? How messed up is that, right? So yeah, no, cell phone tower's fine. Feel free to call the police if you want to. Save a life. Don't try and take one. This isn't Bad Boys. This is GameboyZ. No takers. Okay, right. Okay, that's cool. All right, so Johnny's called the cops. Okay, they're about 2 hours away. Okay, they're gonna be a couple of hours. There you go. Right. So in that time, you got to sort of think. You're all in the sort of room together when the guy got murdered. Are you gonna all stay together, or are you gonna split off and do your own thing in that time while you're waiting for the cops to turn up? Because this is another big one that seems to sort of happen in horrors.
Stick together.
See, you want to stick together. So that to me sort of makes a lot more sense. Like, it's when people start breaking off and deviating, that's when a lot more of the murders sort of seem to happen. Mark, what's your sort of thoughts on it?
Definitely someone's killed him.
No. Are you going to stick together, or are you going to go off and do your own thing? What's the dealio?
Stick together.
You're a sticker together. Good lads. So you both stuck together there, and that's like probably the best case scenario.
I think that's the first time we've ever decided to do the same thing.
I know. It's going to obviously end up badly, because Mark's decided to do that as well. And yep. Mark's the guy that never lives through this. He's like our token Mark guy. That's what we're going to call him, token Mark. So yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so Mark, you're sticking together, which is a good call, because if the killer is one of you guys, you know, you're sure going to find out soon enough, because you've got to observe the habits of the people around you, because it could be any one of these people, you know, that's actually done it. So potentially you are in a room with a killer, so that's going to feel a little bit tense.
It was
right now,
Bob
right?
in the pantry.
Well, let's give you a little bit.
It was.
Let's give you a little bit of insight. So there's a legend about this mansion that one of the other people have told you about, that every 100 years this guy comes out of the woodwork to slash up people there. So there's the supernatural element straight up. That yeah, there's the ghost. There's a possibility that it's a ghost of so and so who you know, comes back every 100 years to kill. And it just so happens that tonight is the 100th year since his last killing spree. And yeah, guess what? You know, you guys are in ground zero for that. So there's that possibility. Another one is that, you know, they've all got some messed up backstories as well. But you know, nobody ever asks a question about like, who are you? What are you to this person? That, because like, you know, it's a registered, like, it's a new aunt that nobody knows about or nothing. It's one of these, isn't it? It's like the horror trope.
It's alright, I'm stuck there with Mark. It can't get much worse at this point.
Well, on the bright side, you kind of know Mark, so you know it's okay. But yeah, in the time that you sort of in the time that you sort of are getting to know each other, one of the help is now showing up dead. You all stepped out into the hallway, and the help has just like basically just fallen off the banister of the stairs, and at the top of the stairs you see a figure with an overall on, with a hood up, and some sort of crazy, I don't know, some sort of mask, I'd maybe say. Like, you know, that seems to be the typical trope, right? So yeah, reactions, lads. Give me some reactions. What's the Game Boys' thoughts on this? As gamers, what would be your instinct here? Would it be to go yet? Are you ready to meet me at the motel?
Nah,
I'd be very
find some
cautious.
weapons.
You find some weapons, okay.
It
Johnny,
seems to be my trope so far.
yeah, Johnny's armored up. Yeah, Mark, are you sticking with Johnny, or are you gonna like go off and do your own thing now at this point? Are you ready to do that?
I'm
yet?
sticking with Johnny.
He's sticking with Johnny. Okay, so yeah, you know, so.
But I do have an add-on to Johnny.
Okay, at this point, like, you know, the next person that's gonna go is because he's not here, is blatantly Jam. So yeah, Jam's just been offed in the time that Johnny's gone to arm up, and that was because Jam sort of got called off down the hallway by what sounded like Mark, and yeah, he ended up, his head's just rolled into the room that you guys are in. So yeah,
Sick.
well, you know, not gonna play football with it, right? Promise me you're not gonna
It's
play
Mark!
football. So yeah, you're thinking it's Mark,
Can we
okay?
play football with his head?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen it in a
I'm down
couple
for
of
that.
films, you know. And I mean, to be fair, it's not as if he didn't have it coming anyway, is it? We all know Jam, you know. It's one of those, isn't it? It's like, well,
I mean, it's probably one of his psycho exes. I mean, I'd mention it, but I probably shouldn't.
it's what he would have wanted, you know. It's what he would have wanted. But yeah.
Exactly.
He loves football.
So yeah, you know, it's one of those. We're gonna like, obviously, you know, you're sticking together so far. You're doing well because obviously strength in numbers and that. But yeah, while you've gone, the other group,
Yeah.
the rest of the group is sort of like splintered off, and they've slowly sort of one by one come to their deaths, and now it's just you two kind of left, because we've got like 20 minutes of the show, so we're going to have some music before we come back to the final showdown here on the Game Boys Get Slashed tonight here on Smile Radio.
Boy.
Next up on the list this evening, this is Beach Slang. I hate alternative rock, but we love alternative rock here at Smile Radio.
gathering here of the shops, the offices, and even the mansions of London. They sincerely believe in the existence and power of the supreme spirit of evil, Petyr.
Slang,
welcome back to the Game Boys here on Smile Radio this Wednesday evening. We're coming up to the final 10 minutes of the show. I'm going to bring the Game Boys back in now. How are we doing, fellas? See how deep my voice has got this evening? I've proper got the Barry White husk on by the end of the show tonight. You know, I got the voice of love. So, excuse me. So yeah, we'll wrap up now tonight's little scenario. There wasn't much of one. It was just like a little throw around idea, to be fair, because you know we was a bit jamless this evening, and you know he is the jammy dodger that binds our biscuit bases together, I guess, in a non-weird way, as that sounded. I don't know. That just sounded wrong on so many levels, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, the guys were adamant this evening that you know I was just trying to make him feel good about himself if he was listening in. You know what I mean? So we'll wrap up this little slasher-esque little scenario this evening.
We're not going to hear the end of it now.
Yeah, he won't listen. He never listens, man. Come on, we're all good. We're all good. If he does listen, this is the test to see if he does listen, because if he brings it up, then you'll know. There you go, innit? That's how we know. So yeah, we're going to wrap this up with... I'll let you know what the music was first of all. The last few songs were Fuse and More Than Ever. Before that was Green Lung and Let the Devil In. And kicking off the triple play there was Beach Slang and I Hate Rock and Roll. So yeah, wrapping up tonight's little scenario. You guys obviously sort of was adamant you weren't going to call the police, and you know the police were going to take 2 hours to turn up because you fannied about waiting so long for the police till you made the call to the police, you know. But yeah, the serial killer's come down to you two guys. He's got you trapped in the corner of a room, and it is a him. And yeah, it was me. Ha 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 ha. There's your twist. It was me. Because that's what it generally is. It's the person that's always like in the horror film. The trope is that it's generally the person that's closest to you. And you know why I did it? For shits and giggles. That's why. Because that's how cruel I am. I just did it. Yeah, you know, well, what the hell? It's one of those ones. But yeah, you know, I've done it. I'm like, hey guys, you know, they're all dead. We've all got like a few million to spare now. Why don't we clean up this mess and go take a vacation into the multiverse for next week's Game Boys? Yeah, you know how it goes. But yeah, no, I think this is one that we want to put a pin in, and we actually want to come back to as a group, because I'm going to work on a better scenario for this. And yeah, this could be something that the Game Boys may be working on with the comic book. The comic books are going to kind of be a volume.
Let us know if you want to do it.
Yeah, well, the first volume of the comic book is actually relating to last week's subject, which is time travel, and we've got a rather intricate time travel storyline that, you know, or the beginnings of a good time travel storyline that you can check out on last week's show, which is available now on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean. It's the Game Boys Get Stuck in Time. What was we the week before that? We did something the week before that. It got zombified, didn't you? You know, so yeah, check those ones out. Zombified. Yeah, so next week we go into the multiverse, because yeah, Jam should be back, so it'll be an interesting take to see how these guys deal with alternative versions of themselves. And I mean, to be honest, let's face it, would an alternative version of yourself actually get along with you? Do you think that's actually a thing?
I don't think so, because like they're the opposite of you, aren't they? So they're gonna have the opposite personality.
Not necessarily. See, this is where it'll be interesting into that discussion. It's kind of going to be a case that, you know, I think there'd be slight differences, but just enough to be able to think like, you know, that guy's not too bad. But it'd be you, but it wouldn't be you in a way, because there's going to be subtle differences. Like a lot of the time, everybody thinks it's like the straight up Star Trek version, excuse me, where it's like the mirror world and you got the beard and the goatee and the evil thoughts. But Fringe and stuff has covered it a lot better with like the fact that it's you, but just only slightly nudged in a different direction as to what you could have been in. So, you know, Johnny A could be the Xbox toting Johnny that we know and love. Johnny B could be a poet who sits there writing poetry night after night about like men and flowers and sunsets and stuff. You know, that's the subtle difference.
That sounds really something, mate.
Oh, I'm
not gonna say it because it'll probably get us.
Oh yeah, you know, I don't want to get us kicked off air and that, but you know, you get what I'm saying. It's the subtle differences for multiple versions of yourself. You know, there's an endless possibility of how many yous there could be. All you got to remember though, there is a version of you that is a militant 2018er, and there's probably a woman that's a feminist and, you know, hates you so much because of the stuff that you say and do, Johnny. So you know, there's at least one out there that is going to absolutely hate you. Anyway, on that note, we're going to wrap up the show this evening. It's only just been like a little bit of a rough show tonight, so I do apologise. We're all feeling a bit under the weather. It's one of those ones. It's flu season. What can you expect? But yeah, we'll be back next week, re-energised, re-injuvenated, and stuck in the multiverse. So yeah, I'm Richie J. Catch me again on Friday for Rich and a Bit of Rich, and also back with the Renegade Rock Hours with this one, Jonathan Edwards, from 9 p.m. So yeah,
the best one.
Over to you, Johnny.
Debatable.
Well, you know me by now. I'm the biggest headed guy here in multiple ways, and I'll catch you later.
Yeah, just don't worry about him. Hasta la vista, Johnny. Yeah. Anyway, over to you, Mark. Let's get yours on the way. You know, let's sort you out. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good, and I'll have a good night. Hope you all do too. Peace.
You know, to quote the famous song, you know, it's Wednesday night. Do a little dance, make a little love, and get down tonight. Get down tonight. You've been listening to the Game Boys here at Smile Radio. We're going to finish it off tonight with Pretty Vicious and These Four Walls. Rock and roll, baby. Peace out.